I left you hanging on the last video with my window fiasco, and I want to give you an update on that. Okay, my husband was very gracious to me. You saw him on the video when I called him, and he didn't say no, but I could tell that painting vinyl windows was something that made him uncomfortable. And the more I researched it, the more I became uncomfortable with it. It sounds like you have to really distress the vinyl windows, and then you have to prime them and then spray paint them, spray them. And it's just really difficult to paint vinyl windows. It sounds like aluminum is not a big deal. It sounds like wood, of course, is not a big deal. But vinyl windows is something that you can really screw up. It's very expensive. So number one, I didn't want to do that to my own windows. Number two, I didn't want to pass on poor information to a lot of people and then watch them and hear about them ruining their windows. So I have put the brakes on any ideas of painting my vinyl windows. Now, many of you suggested that I just ditch this idea, that maybe this was just going too far, and I agree. Sometimes my ideas are just too big, they're not realistic, and it's best to just back away. Like, you can get so fixated on your idea that it becomes too big of a deal. And sometimes too, I notice this, I'm going to tell you this too, that when you are in process in a room, that you make a change and then it feels so off in other ways, and it's because the room isn't finished. So sometimes people will paint their kitchen cabinets or paint just an empty room and think it's all wrong, but it's not necessarily that it's all wrong. It's that you're not finished and you don't have all the different layers and the undertones interacting together, and so it does feel overwhelming. It feels like it's pink or something, and it's not. Okay, so that being said, I don't want to paint my windows. I don't want to pass that information on to you. I don't want to take the risk myself. But as soon as I got off that phone call and filming that last video, I just, as a last-ditch effort, went onto Amazon and searched to see what I could find that was blue contact paper. Let me show you what I have. The first thing that pops up is this paper. Now, on camera, it doesn't look like it matches very well. But I could not believe how similar it was to the wall color. I'm going to show you the two together because this is in a lot more sunlight than the rest of the room. I could not believe how similar it was. And so this is my last try. I'm going to use this in strips on the actual frames. And then, the crossbars are a piece of cake. So I bought a whole bunch more of it's called screen molding. Odd name, but it's called screen molding, and Home Depot had 10-foot lengths of this. I'm going to paint this blue. Super easy to cut with my miter shears, and then I'll just add double stick tape and change out those crossbars. Now, that's just a great tip if you don't even have the crossbars, or they're called, I've heard mullions or muntins, but you know what I mean. So the decorative detail on your windows, if you want to add that would be so easy to do, especially if you already have vinyl windows and you want to add some detailing. Or you can also buy, the diamond shape, which is so European looking. You can buy that on Etsy. There's a lot of different things you can do to add the detailing. I already have the detailing, and it's inside the double paints. So I am going to cover them with these little wooden strips. I'm also going to finish up the window seat. I'm ready to finalize it. Here's the before. I love this window seat. It actually was the first thing I noticed when I walked through the front door when we bought the house. It's a really great focal point, when you first walk in. And I could give it a lot more character. It is the spot too where our dog sits, which I'm fine with. I've made peace with that. It's gonna be easy to wash, I've decided. And I'm going to also add heaters. I took them out because it's been so hot, but there are heating pads that heat all underneath, under that fabric. So the full length of that is heated, which is very inviting. The cats love it too. I'm going to measure each of the strips that I need exactly, cut them with my amazing miter shears. These can be purchased on Amazon. So good for those of you that don't want to get into the power tools for this project like me. They look like pruning shears, and you can turn them and adjust angles. We just have a straight, 90-degree angle, but if I were doing picture molding and I wanted the corners to come together at 45-degree angles, this would be really easy to set and get that. Okay, I'm gonna cut these, we're gonna paint them, and then install them. One question you might have is that if it's closed versus open, will it be different? Yes, I'm only going to cover down to here, so because there's just no room in between. You want it to seal really well, so I don't mind. But when it's open, you'll see a white strip down here. So I'm gonna get that going.
Blue dude, blue moon, kinda mysterious, shaded with someone I'm not really into. Do you need to fix it? It's hard to see you when your eyes look dull. Who's gonna save you? Who's gonna make you not blue?
Okay, there it is. Those are the little side windows. Super easy to apply. And I just kind of patched it all together and wrapped it around. This, I'm okay if that gets painted, even though it is part of the window. This flat part of the window, someone had already painted. Okay, so I'm gonna paint that to match exactly.
On a rerun. Are you hound dog tired singing all night long? Who's gonna save you? Who's gonna make you not blue? Not blue. Not blue dude, blue moon, been one or two since I ran into you. Do you need a picture? Well, that gets old. It's hard to take one when your iPhone's full.
For the latch that I do want to show, I just took the screws off and painted it. I'll link my paint below. But I thought having one piece of hardware that's pretty would be fine. And I'm okay with the gold because no matter what I do in the future, I know I'm gonna love gold. It's a classic for me. All right, checking back in with you and giving you the conclusion and the things that I've learned about making a window look like this. I'm very excited with it. I think that it looks so much better, like 10 times better. I'm so glad. I've lost a lot of sleep over these windows, and I'm happy to say I have a method. I've perfected the method. So one thing that I would say if you're gonna do this, make sure that you look at the window and decide what is the most common angle that the viewer is going to be looking at this window. I do not have every single thing covered in this painted wallpaper. Just from straight on and from a little bit of this shot when I get pictures for the blog and things. Then when you go to paint it though, this is what I would say is you do not want to seal your window shut, okay? This is very important warning. So for me, I painted the top half and then I stopped right here, let it dry, and then I opened it all the way up and then I painted down here because I didn't want to seal it shut. That's the second tip I have about. You can cover your existing muntins or create your own by using that screen molding from Home Depot. So I cut it in strips, the correct segments, painted them, and you might have to sand the edges just a little bit if there's like rough edges. And then this is my big tip for this step. On the back, you can see them, at least with mine, you can see the little bit of the edge is a tiny bit wider than the actual vinyl muntins. So there you could see the drips of blue paint from the outside of the house. That's no bueno. So I ended up using some just that white contact paper that I first tried way back in that other video. I used that on the back so that it looks good from the outside. Anything like this that you have to, that's gonna have a seam, like a corner, that is really hard to make look good. So I wouldn't take two pieces and put them together like this on a corner. Like up here, I had to redo this. It would be better to take a large piece and wrap it. And same with this, I wrapped this little ledge piece, okay? Okay, I'm actually going to have my creative assistant do the second window while I go make the pillows and the cover. I'm very excited to get going on that part, and we're gonna finish off this window seat. We're getting very close to getting this room finished. I'd really like to wrap this up in the next couple weeks. I'm just needing to move on to other rooms. So look forward to that. And if you haven't checked out our bespoke design retreat, that's our live design retreat where we take just 45 people to Virginia and stay in this gorgeous bed and breakfast for 4 days and study design and do workshops and have guest speakers and antique shopping and all kinds of amazing things. That is happening this fall. I'll leave the link in the description below. Okay, you guys take care, and I will talk to you next week.